Here we are now. This is episode number 2 and we are at sunrise at the Gateway of India, and behind us is that beautiful hotel called the Taj Mahal, and this whole area is called sort of the Colaba space, and I'm sure all the tourists know about this because behind Taj is the cafe called the Leopold. For me, I mean, of course it is spectacular because in 40 years never seen the sunrise at the Gateway of India, but today I've seen it. But Taj Hotel has a history for me because when I was young, my first job was as a steward in the coffee shop called Shamiana at the Taj. So yes, it's nostalgic to be here because it's beautiful. The boats are just getting ready for the day. The pigeons are flying around. The sun's coming up. It's spectacular, and it's really amazing because lots of tourist sort of romantic couples are right behind us getting their photos clicked with the Gateway of India. We live in Mumbai 40 years and we don't even come to experience that moment that many people travel thousands of miles across the world, across the country to come and take photos here and experience this magical moment at sunrise. But having said that, I think what's really important is that when I used to work in the Taj and I was young, in my break, I used to come and sit at the wall there on the other side and always think about life. And suddenly I get a tap from the back, and my manager from my restaurant dressed in a sharp suit, and he says, I remember his name, it was Kuldeep. And Kuldeep comes and says, Shailendra, what's going on, man? So deep in thought, so early in your age? I said, no, not really. He says, I'm sure you've got a zillion questions in your mind, but I'll tell you something. You know what, Shailendra, I've been reading these sort of life guru books of various authors he named at that time. I mean, none of them connected because I wasn't into reading books. Who wants to read books when you're like 20 and you want to party, you want to make money, you want to dream big? And he said to me that, look, I'm not advocating a particular author or a thought, but I do believe that these sort of life coach books and life lesson, life guru books do give you insights. Maybe you want to read them and pick up inspirations and thoughts from them, and maybe you find your little spark of life in those those wise words of these really wise men. And I said, okay, well, fuck it, whatever. But the truth is that maybe 7 or 8 years later, I did go and pick up these, these books that tell you all about life. Look at yourself. Do you know who you are? What do you want? And so on and so forth. So at that stage, it was really confusing. But in time, when I read those books, I've got to tell you what I felt and what really got me going, because a few things from that really changed my life. But for now, it's this moment. Check it out. Back there, this is not even 6:30 in the morning, and you have people from all over India boarding this beautiful boat to go check out Mumbai. It doesn't matter what age you are, but whether you're 19, 15, 21, 27, 28, there's always that one question: who are you? What do you want? I mean, constantly that question bothers you because at every stage of our life, we're restless to be somewhere else. And fair enough. I mean, every human being is supposed to be ambitious and a dreamer. But that whole feeling becomes quite restless. It was for me when I was 21 and my first job right here, like I said, and I wanted answers. Now, I mean, parents, friends, peers, they all have sort of agendas. I mean, of course, I'm not saying that they have political agendas or money agendas, but they obviously, parents are emotionally influenced. They want you to make it big, be successful, be someone. Friends and peers are always aspiring or, creating a certain amount of fear in you. Ki, if you don't become something, then what, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, deep down in your heart, you really want an answer to that question. Who are you? What do you want? And in search of that, sometimes we lose our way and sometimes we find, because they say sometimes you need to get lost to find yourself. But if you're young, it's way too early to get lost. So I think, the idea of reading established authors or wise people's biographies or watching movies of, like the Steve Jobs and the Bob Marleys of the world possibly can be inspirational. I went down the road of, I thought if there are successful people like the Mahatma Gandhi and Steve Jobs and Richard Branson and also musicians, so I went into deep watching of these people's lives through films, because I felt, let me get into their character. Who are they? How did they get to be who they are? And subsequently, like the advice of Kuldeep, I also picked up 7-10 sort of life coach, life guru books, and obviously I was very restless while reading them. But while scanning them and quickly being dyslexic and ADHD, I was picking up those quotes, the simple lines, and what happens is when you read those lines or quotes, you're able to translate them in your present position or your life. So it's not who wrote that line, when that person wrote it, for whom he wrote it. It's about how you translate that particular quote or message into your life. And then you make something meaningful out of it. And that becomes your inspiration. That becomes that spark that can possibly light the forest fire for you. So like I said, that all of us have a lot of questions, but you know what? I have the secret formula. Of course you can read books, watch movies, watch lectures on YouTube of successful people, etc. But here's the real formula, that if you want a real answer to all your real questions, look in the mirror at yourself. Look into your own eyes, into your own soul, into your own heart, and ask those questions genuinely to your own self. Because the answers that you get will be the truth, the real truth. And trust me, if you get the answers to your questions from your own self, that's the real solution of life. Don't look outside, look inside. And I say this at this very special moment, the sunrise. This is what I live for, man. You know what I mean? When the sun shines, it just brightens up your day. It brightens up your life. It gives you energy. So I also, another secret, don't miss a sunrise if you can. I know, we all party hard, but don't miss a sunrise, because the sunrise is that moment which allows you to be with yourself. It's the moment of truth. Not many people wake up, not many people to disturb you. It's just that moment of you and the sun. Enjoy.